The message of abstinence is an important one, but today's guests say it's not about what you can't do. It's about choices you can make to reduce risk and lead a happy and fulfilling life. And we're going to ask the people who know best, the kids themselves. Stay with us. The Peers Project is a healthy relationships and abstinence education program. It's implemented in many middle and high schools throughout the state of Indiana. The program consists of student mentors nominated by teachers and fellow students because they're identified as positive role models. The students are trained to teach a creative and interactive abstinence-based curriculum during health classes for 6th grade through high school. I had the opportunity to sit down with a group of Peers mentors. Juniors Matt Ingram, Laura Gild, Tim Dugan, Emma Markey, Tim Bass, and Kelly O'Neill talked about how they came to be part of the Peers Project.
I first heard about Peers, and abstinence is something my parents had really instilled. It was a value that I really took to heart, and once I found out some of my other friends were in it, I was kind of surprised because I didn't know that they actually felt the same way. It was really just a way to continue to express how I feel about the value and even share it with others. And it was even better because I got to do it with my friends and other people that felt the same way that I did.
They came to my middle school, and I don't know, for me it was just a lasting effect because I was somewhat naive and I didn't totally have a real idea of what was going on. So it was just interesting to me, and I liked that you could pass on that information.
I'd like to know what your reasons for leading a life of abstinence or saving sex for marriage are.
Well, we all go to a really big high school, and we know a lot of kids that have gone through some really bad things because of sex, and they've learned the hard way. And because of that, we choose to abstain, and because we want to be successful, and we don't want sex to ruin goals we have in our future.
Yeah, some of that has to do with goals for me as well, but also at this point in my life, I'm not in a position to where I could, if I had a child, or I couldn't take care of it, I couldn't financially support it. And I also think it's important to, save myself for the person that I love and the person that I'm going to marry, so I can give, all myself to that person.
It's not really just about saying no, but it's about saying to yes and making choices on a variety of issues. Would you say that's true, Tim?
Yeah, I would. I agree with that. What we like to do is also talk about, abstaining from drugs, abstaining from alcohol. And what we want to do is we want to make sure, they understand that you need to say no to things and get involved in things that are going to help you to, become more successful in the future. So it doesn't just, deal with one area.
Eve Jackson, Executive Director of the Peers Project, taught high school for 10 years before starting the program. Through teaching, her eyes were open to the sexual activity taking place among teens. She believed an abstinence-based program taught by teens could be effective in helping students make more positive choices.
Through that experience, that I knew young people respected what I said, but my approach was they saw me as either their mother or their grandmother, even back then, and I just didn't feel like I was making a dent. And they kept saying, "You don't understand." They knew I was empathetic or sympathetic or whatever, and I cared about them. They knew that. And they just say, "You don't understand what it's like." And what I realized is I didn't understand. I still don't understand what it's like to be a teenager today in this country, in this world, this culture. And over some time, I did meet a pediatrician, Dr. Pete Skafish, who was very instrumental in helping to bring all this together and confirming the fact that instead of my learning, my speech and standing in front of hundreds of high school students or middle school students and telling them what they should be doing, that we needed to be identifying and empowering positive role models in the high schools, the teenagers themselves who were walking the talk.
So is that how the Peers Project got started?
That's how it got started.
The Peers Project was started in 1994 and has expanded from 9 student mentors in one high school to 2,300 in over 50 school districts in Indiana. The most unique aspect of the program is the student mentors. Eve has found teens will be much more receptive to a message coming from peers who are making the same choices.
To change a culture, you need to be the culture. I cannot go into a teen culture and have them identify with me as they do their peers. And you know, it's a no-brainer, but it's the high school students within the school who are there day in and day out. They're not in once a year to make a talk or to 3 days or something. They're there, they teach just a little, you know, a few lessons during the school year, but they're there day in and day out, living and walking the talk. That's what makes a difference.
If adults came in, they would just be like, oh, it's another thing, you know, adults are telling us to do, but they're not in this day and age, you know, they lived our age 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I think that if adults came in, people wouldn't take them as seriously because it'd just be another thing that they were telling kids.
We usually go during health classes, and their teachers are always adults. And so when we come in, it kind of, I don't know, they get more excited about seeing other kids.
When we return, we'll meet author Justin Lookadoo and learn how he's giving kids the tools they need to make healthy decisions.
Whether you're a student needing answers, a parent needing help, or a concerned citizen wanting to make a difference, Life Issues Institute has the resources you need to put your values into action. Life Issues Institute is an international educational organization committed to protecting innocent human life. Life Issues Institute knows what it takes. That's why millions throughout the world turn here for help. Life Issues Institute has authored more pro-life publications than any other entity in the world, and its materials are printed in over 30 languages. Radio broadcasts, newsletters, and a website filled to the brim with the answers you're looking for are just a click away. Go to facinglife.tv and click on the link to Life Issues Institute to find out more about how you can change the heart of a nation.
Justin Lookadoo is a motivational speaker and the best-selling author of the books Dateable and The Dirt on Sex. Having spent 6 years as a juvenile probation officer and crime prevention specialist, he's seen it all when it comes to teens making negative choices. Justin strives to relate to the audience he addresses. He doesn't focus on what teens shouldn't be doing. Instead, he tells them what they could be doing by giving them tools they need to make healthy relationship decisions. Now, Justin, there's a kind of a stigma in high school that unless you're sexually active, playing the field, that you're kind of corny and square. How true to life is that?
How true to life is the stigma, or how true to life is the reality of it?
How true to life is the perception?
There you go. Because in reality, yeah, about half of them are. That means half of them are not. And I think a lot of the stigma actually is perpetuated with the media and the adults and everybody else like that, because it's all sensationalized. Everybody's talking about, oh, you know, kids are going to hell in a handbasket because they're all running around having sex. Well, no, okay, half of them maybe by the time they're out of high school, half of them are not. But nobody ever sits there and says, 50% of the kids did nothing this weekend on their date. So nobody ever says that. So there's all this hype coming in from the bottom and the top.
Do you think there's a trend toward abstinence as far as sexual activity goes, or do you think it's going the other way?
No, it's going back towards abstinence, because you've seen it for years. It was kind of going towards, you know, a free-for-all. And it was that mentality of, you know, if it feels good, do it. You know, if it's right for you. That's junk. Because people are always like, well, if it feels right to you, if it's inside of you, you need to express it. You know, my question to them is, okay, what if I want to punch you in the face? Do I need to express that? Or do you want me to repress it? Well, you might want to repress that. Great. Then don't tell kids that if you feel like doing something, you need to express it. So it's kind of gone back the other direction of adults going, wait a minute. We've been giving these kids a lot of freedom, but no tools to be able to handle that freedom. I tell them all the secrets between guys and girls. Because if you tell everybody secrets, then they're going to make the right choices automatically. So if you tell them all of this stuff, then what happens is they understand and they get to make their own decisions. Because it is true that if a person has the correct information, majority of the time they will make the correct choice. So I give them right information. Like, boys will lie to you to get what they want, and what they want is sex. The end.
Tell me a little bit about your book, Dateable.
Mm-hmm.
What's the central message of that?
The central message is I tell everybody secrets. all the guys' secrets, all the girls' secrets. I'll tell you, why guys are jerks, why girls are crazy. And in it, in the first part of the book, I will destroy the relationships. So the first book is going to tell you all the secrets. It's going to tell you that guys are going to lie to you to get what they want is sex. It's going to tell you why girls are crazy and they lie to themselves. It's going to tell you all that kind of stuff. And basically, I have to do that so that everybody will be on the same playing field. So I'm going to break it all down, and then the second half of the book is I tell you how to be that person God has called you to be, how to be attractive, how to up your social value, up your dateability, up your attractiveness. And once you learn what really is going on in relationships and how you should really be in a relationship, how should I be that guy who is standing up and being a man? How should that girl be who is standing up and being confident? You start understanding and living that, then I guarantee you that your relationships will totally change. And it's great now because the book has been out long enough now that I've had people come back and say, you know what, that stuff works.
The Peers Project has seen great results, and it's received positive feedback from most students and parents who've been given the education. And 86% of Indiana counties that have the Peers program saw a reduction of 42 to 31% in their teen birth rates. But regardless of these results, federal funding for all abstinence education programs is being taken away.
This is our last school year for this funding because that money has been taken away and put into what is called pregnancy prevention, which is again just safer sex education.
As far as you're concerned, there's no such thing as safe sex?
Only safe sex that you can have is if you're married and you are standing in a safe. That's it. That would be considered safe sex. Other than that, no, there is absolutely no, because any kind of safe sex that they talk about, it's all physical stuff. And one, none of the research shows that the most popular method, condoms, oh, it's all safe. No, none of the research shows that it is helpful against the majority of any kind of infections. HIV, pregnancy, okay, it's effective with that. Rest of them, the best people in the world say, I don't know. There's insufficient evidence to say that.
There is such thing as safer sex, because obviously condom versus no condom, that's a huge difference. Birth control versus no birth control, that makes a big difference. But as studies shown, condoms and birth control aren't 100% effective. So in my opinion, there's no such thing as complete safe sex. The only thing that's safe about it is not doing it.
Well, condoms and birth control a lot of times help prevent pregnancy. There's still the whole STD issue. I mean, it's still out there.
There are actually a lot of STDs that are becoming more and more common in things, and people just neglect those and they just focus only on pregnancy, but it's actually becoming a worse problem than they think it is.
Coming up, we'll hear how parents can have the most influence on the choices their children make.
Thank you for inviting us into your home. Each week we feature real people who deal with real-life issues head-on. Some of their experiences are uplifting, while others will break your heart. But in the end, the message is clear. Those who follow biblical principles on the issues of life are blessed. Become a partner with us in providing a positive, life-affirming message to help change the way the next generation values innocent human life. Please consider a generous gift to help offset the costs of producing this important quality programming. You can donate on our secure website at facinglife.tv or by calling the phone number on your screen during normal business hours. Together, we can make a real difference for life.
Teenagers are influenced in a variety of ways: the media, celebrities, their friends. But the most important of these is their parents. They're responsible for helping their children make the right decisions, and they're effective.
Parents today are hard to just bring together to talk to. They are so busy, they're working maybe a couple jobs, there's a lot of single parenthood and they're busy. They just don't have time to go to a meeting and hear about any of this. And They all want what's best for their son or daughter, I'm sure. However, a lot of them are discouraged because they see the culture and they don't realize that also current research continues. It's not changed that it's still the #1 influence on young people today are their parents. And a lot of parents don't realize that. They think it's their peers or it's the media, but that's not the case.
It's so easy to be negatively influenced by your peers just by what they're doing. But you have to remember when you come home, who puts food on the table for you, or who pays the bills, things like that. Parents really, they know what's best for you for the most part. And I know a lot of kids, we all go through a point where, parents just don't understand, but they really do, and we have to take to heart what they say.
Parents have the most important role. And in fact, I think a lot of this, and I'm not one of these people who, well, schools don't need to do anything, parents need to handle it. What I'm saying is, parents, you want to know what's wrong with our boys? Why our boys are having sex and doing all that stuff? Men. It's our problem. Because every little boy wants to know that he has what it takes to be a man. And men have totally checked out with our little boys. Now, we may still be in the same house, we may still be living there, but we're at work all the time. When as soon as we get home, we watch ESPN, and every little boy wants to know that he has what it takes to be a man. So how does he do that? Well, he can either get aggressive, start fighting everybody and start being unruly, or he can start trying to get all of these girls, have sex with all these girls to feel like a man. It's not going to work. The reason little girls are doing it, the reason little girls, the wheels are falling off on them as far as physical stuff, men, it's our fault on that too. Because we're not there either. Because it takes a man to convince a little girl that she's beautiful. A woman cannot do it. A woman shows a girl how to be beautiful. But a woman cannot convince a little girl that she's beautiful. It takes a man to convince a little girl that she's beautiful.
Now, if you could have a moment to talk to parents, what advice would you give them to help their children make positive decisions in their life?
Help your kids find their passion. And then once they find that passion, then all of a sudden, they don't have time for all this other stuff.
What's the hardest thing about being a teenager?
The hardest part is like balancing school and sports. I mean, it's hard to find a happy median between that and then still being able to have free time and do what you want to do. I mean, that'd be the hardest part for me. So I can't imagine having to juggle those and then trying to juggle drinking every weekend, not being able to catch up or having sex or anything and any of those complications.
So you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't have sex. Do you guys have any fun at all?
We have hobbies. I mean, we keep ourselves busy. Like for myself, I hang out with friends a lot. Go play sports or go hang with my family. We'll have fun. We'll play games. I mean, sex, drugs, and alcohol. That's not everything in life. Definitely not everything. So.
I know definitely I'm the type of person who can go and have fun no matter what they're doing. So I don't really feel the need to drink or smoke or do anything to get that high. I kind of this will sound cliche, but to have that high on life. You know what I mean?
In a moment, we'll hear some advice on leading a healthy, abstinent lifestyle.
Whether you're a student needing answers, a parent needing help, or a concerned citizen wanting to make a difference, Life Issues Institute has the resources you need to put your values into action. Life Issues Institute is an international educational organization committed to protecting innocent human life. Life Issues Institute knows what it takes. That's why millions throughout the world turn here for help. Life Issues Institute has authored more pro-life publications than any other entity in the world, and its materials are printed in over 30 languages. Radio broadcasts, newsletters, and a website filled to the brim with the answers you're looking for are just a click away. Go to facinglife.tv and click on the link to Life Issues Institute to find out more about how you can change the heart of a nation.
Teenagers who set goals, get involved in activities, and surround themselves with good friends often have an easier time making positive, healthy choices. The peer students offer advice on how to avoid temptation. Considering the consequences and focusing on their futures, they find, help make a difficult decision much easier. What piece of advice do you have for kids watching the program?
I'd say definitely don't blow it off. You need to think about the consequences that come with choosing not to abstain, and think about all that you gain from abstinence.
You don't want to, put yourself in the situation that you might make a bad decision. Like if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, what you want to do is you want to, go on double dates, go hang out with friends. Make sure you do that. I mean, that's what my girlfriend and I do. So, we're not, tempted to do anything because we are human, whatever. But that's a big important decision. So don't tempt yourself.
Instead of following everyone, you need to lead your own path, because I think that's the hardest part about high school is, making your own decisions and not following what all your friends are doing. If all your friends are having sex but you don't want to, then don't have sex. If they're your true friends, they won't make you do it. So I would just say that you need to be a leader rather than a follower.
If you want to be good in life, you want to be a leader, you want to be up there as CEO or good, you want to start off doing positive things, and you don't want to ruin anything right away.
I always ask girls whenever I speak to schools, whether it's colleges, high schools, I always ask the girls and the guys, everybody, how many of you have ever seen a Ferrari commercial on TV? And they'll go through it a little bit, and finally they're like, no, we've never seen a commercial on TV for a Ferrari. How many of you have ever seen a Ford commercial?